Israeli citizen was killed and 8 others were injured in Tel Aviv by an Iranian-made drone launched by the Houthi terror organization in Yemen. Right behind me today is the very building that the Houthi drone hit. The drone, which fell close to the Tel Aviv branch of the United States Embassy and British Embassy, was preceded by over 220 ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones fired at Israel from Yemen over the last 9 months, since Hamas atrocities began. The difference was, this drone hit. The IDF said the drone was not intercepted by air defenses due to human error and has since jacked up its defense systems. Until this attack, Israel had never responded to the Houthi attacks. It had preferred that a United States-led coalition would continue to strike the Houthis in response to the Iran-backed group's attacks on commercial and military ships in the Red Sea. The Houthi rebels' slogan is "Death to America, death to Israel, curse the Jews, victory to Islam." The Iran-backed Houthis, who have controlled large parts of Yemen since 2014, along with Hamas, Hezbollah, and other Iranian proxy terror organizations, have launched more than 19,000 projectiles into Israel since the October 7th terror onslaught, vowing to destroy this very country. Iran itself carried out an unprecedented attack on Israel in April with hundreds of drones and missiles. Though virtually none of the estimated 170 drones Iran launched at Israel got through the defenses, analysts report there's an eager market globally for Tehran's relatively cheap, normally effective UAVs. Rapid advances in AI are giving rise to a new generation of lethal autonomous weapons systems that can identify, track, and attack targets without human intervention. And ultimately, UAVs are way less costly than the missiles required to shoot them down. I'm on my way to meet former head of the Israeli Air Force Defense Division, Brigadier General Ilan Biton, to discuss this storm of fire raining down on Israel that may unfortunately become the new normal globally. Ilan, in 2008, you already predicted that Israel's next big war would be many, many rockets, other projectiles, and unmanned vehicles, or flying vehicles. And here we are, that's exactly the war we're fighting. So how did you know back then? What was the picture that you had that other people were missing?
I would like to say that the best problem of the Israeli air defense, that we have an excellent air force. Our excellent air force make the other side to find some other dimensions to fight, and they took the indirect response. So UAVs becomes more and more bigger with many hours so they can stay in the air with the mission. The mission at the early days was just intelligence, observation, communication, and by the time it becomes a combat UAV that can attack from air, can fall on a target, and on the future, you will see air-to-air capabilities.
I think one of the things people have been talking about a lot lately is the public sees the cheap side of things. They see that we have F-35s, and they have the best pilots in the world with the best munitions in the world, but every flight hour costs an arm and a leg.
Right.
And then our enemies are flying something they copied from the Americans, and they didn't even bother doing it right.
Right.
And somehow it makes it across the border from Lebanon. The Houthis, or a militia in Yemen, get a flying object with explosives all the way to the heart of Tel Aviv. Huge. When you think about the fact of the disparity in our technological capabilities and the technological level of our army and who they are and what they're able to launch, the fact that they made it all the way to Israel is nothing short of incredible.
The event in Tel Aviv, it's a very bad one. We should intercept this target.
What about that flying, vehicle would have made it possible for us to shoot it down? Is it small enough, slow enough, weak enough for us to be able to...
It's not small, it's big enough to shoot it down. Yeah. This is not the case that the Houthis launch an exotic ammunition, exotic target that can penetrate our air defense layers. It's not the case. The understanding that is a threat wasn't there. If they would understand that this is what the mistake, if they would understand this is a target, they would intercept it.
So the next time this happens, the IDF will have no trouble shooting down the object?
Normally, no. But you need to understand that never you have 100%
Of course,
shield.
if you're playing defense.
Specific in wartime.
The UAV that struck Tel Aviv likely cost the Houthis only a few $1,000s, while intercepting it would have been significantly more expensive for Israel. With the Iron Dome intercepting Hamas rockets and drones often made from rudimentary materials, like water pipes on a daily basis, it raises a crucial question. How do these costs shape the broader context of modern warfare?
What is the cost of a very clever missile vs a very stupid rocket? You can't compare, but the equation should be different, totally different. We need to compare between the cost of the clever missile to the indirect alternative cost saved. For example, what is the cost in money? The damages to property, the stability of the economy and the business, and day by day, it's a lot of money that we are saving. But I think that we don't need to defend ourselves forever, for good. We can't wait and just launch more and more missiles against a very stupid rocket.
Yeah.
The main need of active defense is to intercept most of the salvos, the dangerous one, for a period of time, and to give the flexibility to the decision maker to take a rational decision. This period of defense needs to end by an offensive maneuvering to stop physically those launching. So it's a combination of defense and offensive.
And strategy. I think you're making a very interesting point, and I remember this, the first time there was an active Iron Dome intercept, I have bad luck with this. I was on vacation in Tel Aviv with my wife, the first intercept of the war above our head, and previously, if such a thing happened, everyone goes home. And the first intercept, everyone looked, and there was an intercept, and a minute later, they said Iron Dome intercepts rockets. Everyone goes, yay, and we go back to our coffee.
Right.
And I think to myself, this is unbelievable. This has changed the way our country has to go to war.
Right.
But you're saying something very interesting. It gives our decision makers the flexibility.
Right.
Because no longer can our enemies jerk us by the arm and force an action.
Right.
Now we can say, look, we'll wait a day, a week, a month.
Find the best timing.
The best time for us. When we're ready and well, we're going to war.
Right.
And until then, you can't force our hand to invade Gaza when you're ready and expecting it.
So this is the equation.
Israel has now been engaged in this ongoing conflict for 10 months, with no end in sight. And yet, the existential threats from its enemies have persisted since the nation's founding. So what defense strategies has Israel developed over the years to counter aerial threats?
Israel built the multi-layer active defense.
Yes.
It means that we have different layers in altitude and range of different air defense systems. It starts with Arrow 3, very deep in space. The next layer is Arrow 2. Under the Arrow 2 there is the David Sling. Fourth layer is Iron Dome. And we need to build the fifth layer,
Which is, we'll call it tactical projectiles.
very, very, very tactical.
So mortars.
Right,
Yeah.
UAVs, mortars, UAVs, and so on. Now, all of those layers are coordinated between them. So if the first missile, let's say, has 80% probability, If I will shoot another one, it's 80% from 20, so it's 16. So the second one, I can reach 96% of probability. But I would like to emphasize, I said that we need to update our doctrine and derive from that the means. So it's not, okay, let's put another system. No, we need to open this philosophy and try to find clever solutions and affordable solutions. The future will never be the same as we are predicting today. And the challenge is to understand the changing, what technologies can give you, what the limitation, and take a clever decision.
From killer algorithms that select targets based on certain characteristics, to autonomous drone swarms that can travel great distances, the future of warfare looks increasingly apocalyptic. But as the Bible teaches us, good will ultimately prevail over evil. Hello, this is Mati here in Jerusalem with TBN Israel.
This is Ilan Biton from TBN Israel here in Jerusalem. TBN Israel is keeping viewers informed with Israel-focused news, culture, and what God is doing in this land.
Support TBN Israel today online at tbn.org/Israel. Thank you.